It's not every day that the opportunity to be a hero presents itself. When Jenni Hänninen set off from Piperstown Equestrian to Seapoint Beach for a horse ride with friends and a guide in Drogheda, County Louth in Ireland, she had no idea that today was the day she would save not one, but 2 lives. But before we start our story, smash the like button. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notifications bell so you won't miss any new stories. It was a beautiful day in June, and the group was having a wonderful time. The horses were enjoying getting to run along the sand and through the edge of the surf. However, Jenni, who is originally from Finland, suddenly drew her horse to a halt as her sharp eyes caught sight of something struggling in the surf. Jenni Hänninen was originally from Finland, but she decided to move to County Louth in Ireland, where she worked as a finance manager for a company in Navan. In her spare time, she liked to pursue her love of horseback riding. Jenni's friends also enjoyed the outdoors and were happy to indulge Jenni's love of horses. They made plans to go to Seapoint Beach near Termonfeckin. It seemed like the weather would be perfect for a day of relaxation, but terrible things can happen on even the brightest of days. Jenni and her friend's guide that day was Darren Cannell, an employee at the Equestrian Center. As they departed for their group ride, it seemed like a normal day. The group headed for the beach just as they'd planned. Seapoint Beach was a cozy area with several beaching and bathing spots. Jenni and her friends posed for a few photos together and continued on their leisurely ride. There was no way for Jenni to know that soon she'd be face to face with the darker side of nature. As the group continued along, Jenni took in the beauty all around her. Between the sound of the ocean and the rocking gait of her horse, she felt completely at peace. Up ahead, they noticed another group of people up ahead, all stopped and pointing out at the waves. It didn't look like the people were in distress, so the riders continued along at their normal pace. They were curious about what could have drawn such a crowd, but it didn't feel the need to rush. When they found out the truth, they realized every second mattered. Jenni and her friends approached the other group. Being up on a horse gave Jenni a better vantage point. It looked like there was some kind of creature struggling in the water out in the shallows. Jenni strained her eyes, but she couldn't quite make it out. Jenni couldn't understand why everyone else was standing around instead of going to investigate. The other people had obviously been there before her, but it was clear that none of them had waded into the shallows to check on whatever was wriggling out there. Were they afraid of what they might find? Dismounting from her horse and handing the reins to one of her friends, Jenni approached the water for a better look. Her friends and Darren called out to her, asking her what it was. Even from the shoreline, Jenni still couldn't tell what it was, and the onlookers weren't sure either. The water looked cold, but she didn't want to leave until she knew the truth. Jenni took off her riding boots and socks and set them on the beach. It was time to go in. What if it was some creature in desperate need of help? Once Jenni made the decision to go in, she stuck with it. It was a brave decision considering so many other people had refused to do the same. In June, high temperatures in Ireland range from 16 to 19 degrees Celsius. The ocean felt freezing. Now nearly waist deep in the cold water of Ireland's east coast, Jenni was able to get a clearer view of the shape that had attracted so much attention from onlookers on the beach. Close up, it was bigger than she'd expected and almost as long as she was tall. She saw a single fin rising from its back. Jenni looked back at the shore. Everyone was so far away that they might not have been able to hear her over the sound of the waves. If she was in danger, no one would be able to save her. But a closer look told her that it wasn't dangerous at all. It wasn't a shark or some other dangerous predator that could hurt her. It was a baby dolphin. But the dolphin was obviously in distress. What was she going to do? Jenni wasn't the panicking type in most situations. She knew how to stay calm when it mattered, but she still had no idea what to do to help the dolphin. Based on its size, Jenni thought the dolphin was a baby. The sea-dwelling mammal was clearly weak and in need of assistance. There were several reasons the dolphin could be so still. Was it injured, ill, trapped in a piece of rubbish? Jenni looked around for clues about what to do. No matter what, it was clear that the dolphin was in grave danger. As an immigrant to Ireland, Jenni didn't automatically think about Seapoint Beach's deadly low tides. At low tide, there was a vast stretch of beach that sometimes became exposed in the shallow water. After taking a minute to examine the situation, Jenni realized that the dolphin must have become beached in the low tide. Even though it was a baby, the dolphin looked heavy. She was afraid of hurting its delicate fins or stressing it while it was already suffering. As she peered down at the scared animal, Jenni wondered whether she had the strength to save a life. Before she could doubt herself anymore, Jenni sprang into action. As someone who loved the outdoors and being active with hobbies like horseback riding, Jenni knew that she was physically fit. There wasn't enough time to call for help. The dolphin was counting on her. Back on the shore, Darren began filming her rescuing the dolphin. He had no idea that what he was recording was only the beginning. Jenni knew she needed to move fast to make sure the young dolphin suffered the least amount of distress possible. She felt that waiting would be risking the dolphin's life. Being as gentle as she could, Jenni scooped up the young dolphin in her arms and moved into deeper water. She knew the dolphin couldn't stay in the sun for long. The dolphin was larger than Jenni had thought, and she was suddenly afraid that she had made a mistake trying to carry the youngster to safety. Her arms grew weak. It was only a few more meters. Then, with a powerful flick of its tail, the dolphin swiftly swam away back into the deep sea, hurrying off to be reunited with its family. Jenni and the onlookers cheered, relieved to see that the youngster was unharmed by the experience. However, Jenni was soaked, and her body temperature was dropping. She was growing concerned about getting sick from exposure. A hot drink or a soak in the tub would warm her right up. She started to make her way back to shore, but something stopped her before she could get there. As Jenni waded back toward the beach and her friends, she was astonished to see another young dolphin stranded in a similar way to the first. She expressed her surprise to her friends waiting on the beach. Jenni wondered if the dolphins were related. Dolphins, who are well known to be friendly, playful, and mischievous creatures, travel in groups known as pods that can include hundreds of animals. Once again, Jenni gathered her courage. It was difficult, but Jenni managed to help the other dolphin out to sea as well. She looked around, but there weren't any other dolphins visible in the immediate area. It was an incredible experience, and she was happy that she'd been there to help. Jenni continued back to shore and was relieved to be on solid ground again. The bystanders were thrilled that the dolphins were saved, but Jenni didn't stay long to celebrate. She walked back over to the group, unaware that Darren had taken a video that would attract the attention of thousands. Jenni, her friends, and Darren quickly left the beach as soon as Jenni was ready to ride again. She needed to dry off and warm up. They would have to continue their ride another day. When she reflected on all that had happened, Jenni just thought she'd have an interesting story to tell friends in the future. While it wasn't every day that someone rescued two dolphins, it didn't seem shocking either. After all, there were plenty of dolphins around Ireland. It was bound to happen. Jenni truly had no clue that soon her name would be in the headlines. Not only is Jenni one of our top riders in the yard, also turns out she's a cracking lifeguard. It must be the Finnish in her. But had she done the right thing? When they got back to the equestrian center, Darren showed everyone the video of Jenni rescuing the dolphins. They were so proud of how courageous she'd been. Jenni went home and thought she was going to return to her ordinary life. Darren, however, wanted the world to know what Jenni had done. The equestrian center tweeted the video with the caption, "When I was younger, I might have saved a couple of birds, but nothing like this." She went on to say, "I just saw the first baby dolphin at the side of the water. I didn't know who to call or if I should call the Coast Guard or someone, so I went over to help, and when I was coming back, there was another one which was stranded as well." However, there are some differing opinions as to if what she had done was right. Speaking to the Irish Independent following her dramatic rescue, Jenni said, "In general, experts recommend calling for help if you find a beached animal. Qualified personnel can help ensure the stranded animal isn't harmed or distressed. However, in the case of the two dolphins, it was likely better that Jenni acted as quickly as she did due to the remoteness of the beach and the condition of the dolphins. There are some jokes that Jenni should go into animal rescue so she can ensure she is doing all she can to help the animal kingdom rather than hurt it."